all right. Oh boy, do we have some awesome speakers, and what a conversation to be had, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Go Home Spaces. My name is Daddy Phil, as always, hosting your beloved space at 2 p.m. UTC on every Wednesday. We don't miss a Wednesday, sirs and ladies, sirs, and especially this week, I have an awesome talk and space and podcast, if you will, prepared for you, because we're talking about advertising, my favorite subject, given the fact that I am a brand specialist. Marketing and traditional marketing methods, tactics, strategies, and everything else is what interests me the most. We've got a great lineup of speakers today. I see Tiamonds in the listeners as well as some of the other speakers. Please make sure to send in the request. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be promptly taken up on stage. Meanwhile, we've got the always rugged but unruggable, essentially, Mr. Shiv, Dr. Shiv, I should say, on stage. Hello there, Shiv. How's it going?
Always rugged but unruggable. That makes me sound like some sort of X Faces superhero, so I'm here for it. But how's
Well,
it
you got
going,
that.
guys? This is Shiv from Earth from Another Sun. We are a base building FPS game with roguelite elements where you can command your own totalitarian state in humanity's darkest hour. That being said, I think advertising is definitely one of those key problems in crypto, or at least key spaces which haven't been optimized or perfected. Partly because there's so many subdomains that you have to get the right product market fit for, the right onboarding strategies, but extremely excited about it. And let's get the conversation started.
Absolutely. Also, you mentioned many times you come here, you say where you can command your totalitarian regime in the humanity's darkest
It
hour.
is a
I love
very,
that.
very totalitarian regime. And we have an update coming in 2 weeks that, trust me, there's some political shit going on that, boy, oh
Oh,
boy.
shit.
I've been testing
What?
the early version, and trust me, that level of brainwashing, the North Korea ain't got nothing on us.
Oh my God, Jesus. I was actually talking about North Korea today, but Jesus. So why is it what like so you have a totalitarian regime in your base? Am I understanding it correct? Like in your
Okay, so the way it works, I'll say it in like two sentences to not confuse everyone or take it too long, but the entire space is being attacked by the Arslan evil forces, and that gives you a choice on how you want to lead your regime in an already oppressed and totalitarian world. And you are humanity's last hope. Prologue spoilers alert.
mm, oh, interesting. And you're getting an update. Damn, is that exciting. Also, I downloaded GeForce Now, and finally I actually made it possible that to play it. And Jesus, I mean, not to take away the benefits of Web3, but holy smokes, am I playing Assassin's Creed 3, which I acquired for $6, by the way, on Steam. Wink, wink. It's on sale. But holy damn, I've got a MacBook Air M2. You know how weak this piece of garbage is? It's like a calculator compared to a gaming PC. I can play Assassin's Creed high-end game, no lag, no latency for $10. I mean, I'm literally shilling Nvidia right now. I understand that, but Jesus Christ, how was I not aware this technology existed? Honestly, this is crazy. So good. But anyway, we're here to talk about advertising. Meanwhile, let me introduce you to some of our distinguished speakers that just joined us. We got Sentism.AI joining us today. Hello there.
Hello, hello. Great to be back with this with go home token space as usual. It's a great topic over there. This is GM everyone, GM other speakers, and all the audience. I'm Hannah and Corey. I'm the head of Grow or Sentism. We are building a that AI protocol with on-chain AI agent. But today we are not speaking about this. I'm here to speak a little bit about advertising in crypto. But to be honest, to hit I'm more like a student of grow in this chart, because currently we are not running any ads yet, but observing and also planning and honestly learning from what we really working and what's like detects from the noise. So yeah, excited to be in this chart and looking forward to learn more about from you guys.
Fair enough. Thank you for joining, Hannah. And I'm not surprised you're not running any ads because it's not really a common thing to do in Web3 to run ads. And we're going to talk about it today. Why is it not common, and how can we, even if it's necessary to make it common or important to run ads? Meanwhile, let me introduce Tiamonds. Steven, is this you?
Not today. Sorry.
Jesus
So,
Christ! Every
so
time I get it wrong. Can you just like text me who's gonna it's crazy.
we can do
Rahul,
that.
what's up?
Hi, how are you guys doing? Yes, so for an interesting topic today, advertising in crypto. Looking forward to to the conversations that we have about it. Of course, we are all. I'm also part of the marketing team over here, so would love to learn and hear what everyone has to say about this topic. But before that, let me just quickly introduce Diamonds as well. We are one of the world's largest and the first tokenized available on Ethereum, Cardano, and the XRP network. We are basically a Web3 marketplace for tokenized commodities, empowering users to own, trade, and invest in real world assets. So we started off with tokenizing diamonds. Then we introduced gold bars to our marketplace. Then we got sapphires from mined from Sri Lanka. And lastly, we have tokenized silver. So and we have another asset that's going to be that we are going to be bringing to our marketplace in the coming up couple of weeks. So pretty excited for that as well. But for now, let's jump into the topic: advertising in crypto.
Damn, let's do it. You guys are developing every week. I think one of the rare companies that develops so rapidly. We got Soulbound, Mr. Marcello or Marcello, depending on your preference. How's it going, sir?
Doing very well, very well. Even better now that I'm here. Um, Thanks for having us. Quick introduction. We are Soulbound TV, baby. We're bringing you Streamify, stream into Web3. We've got a lot of cool stuff. We got AI agents. We got prediction markets. We got a lot of cool stuff. We got a Telegram app now too. Wow. Yeah, we got our TG coming up very soon. IDO sale happening right now. Check out our pin post. But yeah, Daddy Phil, I'm excited for this topic. Advertising in crypto. This is a good one. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining. We got PAI3. I had the pleasure to talk with PAI3 last space yesterday. Hello there, Pi. How are you today?
Hello, and thanks for having me here. It's exciting topic, and what a great audience, and love your spaces. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement. So looking forward to it. Advertising in crypto, definitely a lot to discuss and a lot to learn. Quick intro on PAI3. It's a really containerized AI with the objective that consumers and businesses can have their own AI containers where they can control their data, allow the agents to safely interact with the data to deliver personalized inference, as well as to have a very open economy that connects these containers, data, and agents in a way that everybody is properly rewarded. So in effect, bringing the open back into OpenAI and doing so with a Web3 community that allows people to trust without having to trust Altman or Musk. So very excited to be here, guys. Hoping to learn from all of you, and certainly happy to share my thoughts. So thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining, as always. Let's move over to Mocha. Interesting. You got a ramen emoji there, which is a fish cake. How's it going?
GM. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not really. I mean, you know what they say in crypto, you have to, well, not crypto, Web3, crypto Twitter, you have to own an emoji. And we're actually doing the coffee and the little white thingy that, yeah, might not be related to our profile picture, but it looks kind of similar. So people are they're already using it. We already have a few people who changed to that emoji on their username. So it's like, you're slowly building the army, so to speak. But yeah, thank you very much for having us. We are building a crypto payments network to create circular economies that allow people, mainly in the third world, but it's going to be worldwide. But first worlders don't really use that much as a solution to being unbanked or debanked. But in places where there's no banks, no access to TradFi, no access to internet, as a daily basis, they can just go to the mall and get some Wi-Fi and stuff like that, and create some transactions, etc. We're building for those people, and our final goal is to create circular economies. But yeah, thank you very much for having us here. We're looking forward to the conversation because we are actually going to advertise. 99% of our advertisement is going to go to we don't like to call them normies, but it's what they are. But that 1% is going to go to crypto people, and it's so tricky to advertise to crypto people. So looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. Part of the conversation is branding. So let's begin. And traditionally, we like to start with Shiv. So let's go ahead and do that. Shiv. So I want to take this perspective. Um, Crypto culture, Web3, thrives on memes and virality. How does that redefine what advertising even means in this space?
Great question. So I would say number one thing we need to understand is that this space is extremely financialized. And when you financialize anything, be it pink slip stocks 50 years ago, or be it meme coins and a lot of products in Web3 today, it ends up allowing a lot of bad actors to enter the space. Now, I mentioned that to start my take only because advertising and marketing and communications in crypto has almost this blanket over it of falsifying information or editing information to make it sound way better than it is. One might ask, why is it not like that in stocks, or why is it only Web3? It's because anyone can launch a token today. If I want to have an IPO for a company, I need to have massive metrics and monetary models met, and those yardsticks exist. With crypto, that just doesn't exist. So now you have a space where anyone can financialize anything, effectively leading to bad actors and risk, and a place where honesty is not the norm. And despite all the decentralization and immutability, there still is that space for those lies or that miscommunication to be leveraged on time and time again. So now, when you see marketing through a lens of virality or sensationalizing things, it's firstly because everyone is moving at a faster rate than traditional industries, be it an average investor with $1,000 lying in his account looking for the next token to buy, be it someone that's looking for the next roadmap for his next project. Things are going to move much faster in Web3 than in traditional spaces. So once you have an industry which essentially hops from item A to item B and has the ability to raise capital faster than probably any other industry in a much easier way, and there's essentially no limits, institutional, geographic, so on and so forth, that does bring in virality as and culture and just the idea of memifying things to become this behemoth which every BD marketer, community manager, any non-tech role holds on to in some way or another. It's probably the one thing you'll find in the most complex DeFi projects, InfoFi projects, gaming projects, because it's almost the culture of the space. And it's definitely been amazing in seeing VCs and institutional investors and people from TradFi with decades of experience have softening up and opening up. And that communication does bring in a certain level of ease in onboarding for the masses. However, it still is a double-edged sword. On the good side, we have a lot of boardroom conversations from TradFi and traditional Web2 industries that in this space are much more open, flexible, and accessible. We have the ability to have anyone that has a good idea and can have a cultural impact get monetized for that. Be it in 2021, NFTs, where if someone had the ability to create something which was culturally relevant or gained virality. An example of this I was thinking of earlier is this guy who just took 100 selfies of himself, or like 1,000 selfies every day, and wanted to make it like a meme coin project. And I remember back in 21, I think it was 100 days, it just sold out because each selfie started going viral in different memes. The same way today, it might not happen with NFTs, but if you get something that can go viral enough with meme coins, you're going to have the exact same response. Now, once you understand all the good, the bad also exists. An example we just saw is on chain crime of Binance running up Aura from like a million to 800 million. The rationale is that the biggest actors in the space have the ability to enter a space which is so easily monetizable, and off the weaponizing of culture or virality, extract massive amounts of money very, very fast. So I would say it's almost, I mean, it's pretty funny comparing virality or memifying something into to nuclear technology, but the comparison exists just to say that it can be used for a lot of good things, and it can be revolutionary for us as a space, which it definitely is. But it also opens the room for certain bad actors to leverage that, be it on a micro individual scale or on a very, very large institutional scale.
Absolutely. And there's really, really great points that you touched on there. There's no limits or no restrictions in today's crypto market. Is this true, Shiv, by the way? Can you advertise anything? Because I'm seeing all the ads about how Elon launched his coin or whatever bullshit. And
So I
it's,
would technically there are meant to be, like the US and the SEC have tried over this, but the reality of it is until you get too big for it to matter, people just don't care. There that exists on all levels. People that are defrauding banks in India for 20 million versus 200 million, the person with 20 million has a higher chance of getting away because it probably won't be everywhere and it won't be chased down by the governments. The guy with 200 million will be chased down. The same reason why XRP, Polygon, and so many other big projects have been basically chased by the SEC. But at the same time, if someone tomorrow scams off with 500K or 5 million, it's going to be very hard for one government to get after them, especially if they are just decentralized enough to have their companies or entities based correctly, which today you don't even need to do to be marketing a coin. You just need a VPN, access to basic internet, a few $100s, and killer virality strategies, and you'll be able to max extract. And up until a massive level, I don't think institutions will come after you in most cases.
yeah, fair enough. Okay.
I mean, we
Well,
had
we had
Argentina's
some
president pull a
oversight.
scam.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we did. We did. Oh my God, that was so crazy. Um, well, the thing here is, shouldn't X, I mean, this is derailing conversation for just a second. I mean, it's not derailing. We're gonna get into financialization and memification in just a second, but I just want to hear your thoughts, Shiv. Do you think X was better, just as a comparison, when it was more like anytime you would run an NFT ad, it would just ban you right away, or you would because I believe part of the culture that we have right now of not running ads and not being so friendly with companies and projects that run ads is that initially NFTs were just outlawed all across the board, and all meme coins which followed suit were also outlawed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in Instagram
Mhm.
would just ban you
So
outright
I would
ban you.
say it's definitely not the long-term solution. For today, I guess it works in curbing bad actors, but I think on a long enough time frame, once you have all the massive benefits that come from Web3 and blockchain technology integrated on a mass scale, there are going to be stronger and stronger use cases for having certain projects marketed. I would just say on a large level, there's no solution to this where 1 year from now we can have this space and no issues exist. I guarantee you that. But there is a reality 10 or 20 years from now. Not sure if we'll still be on space together, but I hope so. Point still being, there there is going to take a few amount of years where big institutions, big countries have massive regulation onto these projects and how you market, how you communicate. On top of that, even removing everything legal, I do believe that eventually the retail does get smarter. It's like I've mentioned Hegelian dialect in your spaces before, but I think if you just see the mass crypto audience as something which today is not massively populated relative to world population, once we reach that saturation point, there after a few cycles, people will end up getting smarter. Governments have already started adopting crypto. Institutions already understand the benefits of blockchain technology. So I think over the next decade, we're going to see massive shifts in how regulation and how retail becoming smarter in just the washing away and the detection of scams or basic on-chain crime being curbed massively. And I think we aren't going in the wrong direction, at least as of what we've seen in the past year, because one way or another, X does end up churning out the right takes for most things, at least if you follow the right people.
I think you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, why I call this man Dr. Chev. I mean, talking about Hegelian dialect or Hegelian, I can't even repeat this. Uh, yeah, fair enough. I really hope you're right, Chev. I really hope the optimism is. Um, oh my God, I'm sorry. I apologize. I looked at Elon apologizing for tweets on Trump. What is going on? I regret some of the posts about President Trump last week. They went too far. No shit, Sherlock, didn't they go too far? Wow. Is he going to get was he like sued or something? Because might have been. Anyway, derailing the conversation. My ADHD is kicking in. Also, Sentism. Let me move over to you. I'm curious about your thoughts on the topic. Am I correct in assuming you are from the Asian side of the world?
Yeah, exactly. I'm
How does
from
that work
Asia,
in
but
how
actually,
does
we are from
advertising?
in
Oh,
Asia, in Europe.
oh, so are you based in Asia or in Europe? Just so I ask you the following question of how does it work in the eastern side of the world? Because western side is more or less cautious on meme coins and especially advertising on meme coins.
I think I can share this two point of view because I based in Asia for almost of my life, and just recent 2 or 3 years I moved to Europe. So now I have some point of view from here. But earlier in Asia, I think advertising meme coin in Asia is it crazy. But I think it's really can make it happen, like can onboard user through advertisement. Like mainly they need someone to church in, they want to talk, they want to know who is investing of like who is the leader of this coin. They need many information, and for users they will not see whether it's, how it's been pumped, but they buy the church, like the big whales, the KOL who is supporting this. So I think basically to compare with web2 advertisement, it's something like transactional when we can give them the service, the products, they can pay us like for this. But for web3, I think it's more like relational, where we are not selling the product, but we are selling the narrative. Where the narrative going, the church, the leaders, and then the user will follow and pay for this. So user don't want promise, like especially the over promise when they say they shouting 100x or like big spam bull run, but they want to see the proof of work, like the transaction, the value, the on chain. I think that's the more web3 is more matures, the more it's been like they need to be more value, give the value and the real product for the user. So right now we see in crypto, we see many track on X go viral with meme or we see quests with Gaso or tasks on where the user can easily earn rewards for engaging, or AMA, postcard, Telegram boards, etc. And in Europe, I see some DeFi projects, they partner with influencer KOL, micro KOL, or co-branded with campaign with football players. But some hour later it got hacked. So I think for this we need the real believers who can test, who can give feedback, who can know how the product is running. And the advertisement is not only something that we can see share the users the potential of or the how the token will be pumped, but they need to see the real value, the real product, and what the problem that the project is solving. So personally, I think crypto have to learn a lot from Web2 right now. Like they if they want to go long term in Web3, they need a real business. They need to have revenues. They need to reward token holders, not receive the airdrop and then sell uh, just after listing. So, but at the same time, something that Web2 cannot have it compared to Web3, like the ownership, like the voice of the story of the user when they contribute and build with us. So when we finally decide to make advertising, I think we don't sell a dream. We don't do overpromise, but we need to invite users to co-create, co-build with us. So this is what I'm thinking. This is my thought.
Fair enough. And that gets me thinking, what is the most effective way of marketing in crypto? Soulbound, I'm sure you're familiar with the topic. Would you like to take it over?
Repeat that one more time. What's the most effective to do advertising?
What's the most effective form of marketing or advertising in Web3 today?
Yeah, I mean, so this one's a little bit of a hot topic. I'd love to kind of dive into it a bit more, and there's a lot to say, but I think we've seen a lot of folks and a lot of projects will market a lot of different products, services, protocols, whatever you're building with TGEs, right? So oftentimes it's interesting, right? It's probably in one of the only industries that we just throw money away the way we do, but I think when done right, having a token, building an ecosystem, being able to reward your loyal supporters, your active supporters of your ecosystem with a token, I think can definitely have some benefits. Obviously, at the same time, we all know that many airdrops, many tokens end up dumping post TGE. I think that's where, having systems put into place, whether it's staking, having loyalty programs, incentives, ambassadorships, the list goes on. But having systems in place for folks to benefit from these airdrops, but also be able to contribute to this ecosystem, right? So I think oftentimes providing utility to these tokens has its benefit as well. If you've got yourself a token that literally is just a token and doesn't do anything, I would maybe argue you've got nothing more than just a meme coin, right? But if you're actually building something interesting, I'll shamelessly plug here at Soulbound. What we're doing is with a lot of the tokens or SPX, but what we're doing here, it goes back into the ecosystem, right? And we're rewarding a lot of the users that are contributing to our ecosystem. And I think that that's probably the best way to go about it, right? Building something long term where if you do have a token, you want to make sure it goes back into what you're building. So, yeah, man, when it comes to advertising in crypto, I think a lot of us will advertise with a token or use that instead of, in traditional means, we'll use marketing budgets or use this money in other avenues. And I think obviously that's very important too. But yeah, in crypto, it's really interesting. It's the only place where you'll see yourself getting paid for actively being part of an ecosystem. So that is an interesting one to me, the whole TGE side of things. But yeah, I think it's an interesting one. And I think I'm really curious to see how things unfold over the next few years. I know that for a long time, we've seen many different airdrops work really differently. Even for myself, coming more from gaming, it's been interesting, right? We started off with the whole play to earn narrative, where a lot of folks would, have the idea of where they could earn from playing games. I think then that kind of transitioned to play to airdrop, which was used heavily for marketing. Curious where that unfolds over the next few years, and it's worked, right? It's worked in terms of user acquisition. I think the next step is user retention, right? And how do you get folks to want to be more invested in this ecosystem and not just get paid in a token and dumping it, right? So I think that's an interesting avenue right there. And even just to add to that, I'll stick with just games for now. Outside of just rewarding folks with a token, even rewarding folks with in-game assets, which might be NFTs, I think was always an interesting avenue. And I've seen a few games do that where not typically a TGE, but being able to reward folks with in-game assets as kind of an advertising avenue where folks, well, not really advertising, but you're bringing people back, right? You're building community, you're building trust within your community base, which I think then leads to word to mouth, and which is probably one of the best forms of advertising, right? If you build a really good community, you really get excited, you get them excited about what you're building. They tell all their friends about it. Is a really powerful avenue, and that kind of gives another idea in my head, and I'll end it at that. But referral systems, I think that's something that's worked really well within the space. We've seen a lot of folks, we've seen affiliate marketing in the past as well. But I think when it comes to referral systems, that's another way that I don't know if I'd call it advertising, but I'm a big believer in word to mouth. And if you're able to get other folks excited about something that you're excited about, that's definitely another way to, I would say, advertise. But yeah, those are some thoughts on my end, Daddy Phil.
Thank you for those thoughts, and definitely it's an interesting topic, and I think it comes down to the way you build your marketing funnel, whatever makes sense, and however it makes sense. It's definitely a trial and error depending on the business you're in, and I do have the need to mention the target audience that you're targeting, right? Are these users, well, first of all, are these users or are those developers? How educated those people are? How technical are those people? How much advertising do they need, or how many incentives do they need? Those are the questions that you have to answer prior to running any type of advertising or any kind of ad campaign. And then, only then, you can run ad campaigns. However, I'm curious how we build a good marketing funnel as well, for which I want to go over to Pi because I see his hand. Or to Pi.
Thanks. So I want to bring a slightly different perspective. Um, Web3 is becoming a little bit of an echo chamber. We talk to each other, we talk to this Web3 bubble where everybody speaks a very different language and the rest of the world doesn't understand our language. So when I am traveling on plane and I tell people about blockchain or crypto, their eyes glaze over because they can't relate to terms like NFT or smart contracts or even blockchains. What we need to do is to tell the story of what we do and how it touches people instead of telling the mechanics. And no advertising is going to grow our community. We'll talk to each other all day long, but if we learn to tell the story of what we do and how that's relevant to a consumer or to a business or to a game player or a trader, our community will do so much better. So this is one notion I have, that we should tell stories, less tech and more, something memorable about what we are doing as a community. This is one thought. The second thought is, with AI coming, AI is going to be the interface between us and the consumer. So we're going to have to learn to advertise uh, through AI in a way that both the other side is able to comprehend and listen to us. And that whole world is about to change on its upside down. And it's going to impact Web3 community as well. So internally, how do we create content that cuts through the noise. Because what we have right now is an information overload society, right? Especially in the Web3 space. Every day there's a new token, there's 100 new projects, there's a new protocol, there's new terms being invented. We all are trying to make a difference or trying to be stand out in a very noisy space. And nothing you say hasn't already been said before. So how do you make your story heard? The reason for that, I think, is why we need to learn to tell a story about the project, about the token, because there are more tokens than we can ever count on in any reasonable sense. So how do you get a token to stand out? Well, it's got to stand for something more than being a token. There needs to be a story behind it. So that's my take. And I'll end by saying one last thing. I was recently on a long flight and I was sitting next to an elderly woman in her 70s maybe, and we started chat, and we got into this whole concept of tokens and crypto, and she was like, I would love to understand more what you young people are talking about, but frankly, it's like Greek speaking to the French. And if you guys could just make it easier for people like me to understand it, I have a few bucks lying around that I would like to play with, but I have no idea what to do. So what I do is I just buy Bitcoin. But that's the only thing I know, because the story behind it is that people who bought Bitcoin at 3,000, now are 30 times richer. That's the story easy enough for people to understand, and they keep coming back to it because we haven't replaced that Bitcoin story with something more exciting. So that's all the Web2 world, the 7 billion people know about. So if you're going to stand out, you got to tell a story about yourself more than your protocol and your consensus mechanism and your staking, mechanism. We got to talk in stories, not in mechanics.
I would love to understand what you guys youngsters invest in. Well, it's not that hard. Like, it's not that easy to understand, first of all. Um, Second of all, I mean, the interesting part, you mentioned stories, right? And I love Marcelo's take on meme coins, because he would argue if you don't have any utility on the coin, it's just a meme coin or a financial asset, as Shiv said, a financialization of everything. With a storytelling, I mean, I don't know. Does a dollar have a story, or is a dollar story the US story? Or does money have story overall? Because as far as I understand, money is all the stories we tell ourselves that we can buy with this money. Um, the issue here is that you can't really see it. There hasn't been a money that's not tied to anything. Like, yes, you can argue, my bank account shows, fake numbers, let's say. Those fake numbers correspond to actual numbers that you would get if you try to withdraw your money. So it's still connected. Bitcoin isn't connected to anything. Bitcoin's price, or just your number of bitcoins that you have in your wallet, it doesn't correspond to anything aside if you just convert it to a dollar. And conversion is really difficult. Like, it's about UX. Well, the old lady was probably asking, could you improve UX, guys? Could we please improve some UX? Because that's essentially what we need right now. And with storytelling, I mean, we are storytellers and we are storytelling creatures. There's a great book about how to write a story by Angus Fletcher, who is a Disney supervisor or Disney consultant on stories. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Storytelling is one sneaky method that we marketers use to sell you stuff. But I want to move over to Tiamonds. Tiamonds, how do we market traditional and non-traditional assets, as well as how do we market traditional assets like diamonds or gold, such as yourself, in untraditional ways?
See, so then what while we are talking about this and running ads, marketing ads, so see, both of these things need to go hand in hand. Like your organic marketing needs to be as important as you think that your paid ads gonna be. Like If you're going to think that you're running some advertisements and some paid ads on any platform and it's going to work wonders and it's going to work magic for you, that's not how it goes. You need to have a strong marketing, organic marketing strategy as well, because that's going to be helping you to build a community. Now, as since you asked about our project itself, when we talk about traditional assets and how we are supposed to be marketing it, we are trying to bring those TradFi real world asset holders onto the Web3 tokenized aspect of things. So at the same time, what we need to do is we need to build trust. Now, when we are talking about building trust with the community, we are trying to grab the eyeballs, but are we trying to grab the right eyeballs? Like, are we trying to grab the right kind of audience who are good, ready to be exploring the project or not? And are they actually holding the assets or not? That's when the whole aspect of, I believe that there are limitations that we have explored while we are running ads on these platforms, because you cannot run all kinds of crypto ads. So that's why these kind of limitations come. That's why a lot of dependency is there, obviously, on our organic marketing as well. So I believe that the whole idea is to build a stronger community. And once you're trying to build a trust with a transfuser, that yes, you are holding a specific diamond, but you know that if you're going to tokenize it, these are the benefits that you're going to get through it. So that's the narrative. Again, that's the thing that I believe PAI3 also spoke about, that this is the story that we are ready to tell right now. That yes, you can hold a real world asset while you're tokenizing it on the blockchain. This is how it's going to be beneficial for you, and that's what we're trying to market over here. Now, the platforms that we are running these ads on, they are pretty limited, and the kind of things that they do is that they do not target the audiences in the right way. And what I have also seen in a couple of projects is that sometimes you end up stepping into regulatory landmines where these ads could be misleading and they seem misleading to MICA or SEC, which brings you into a whole lot of different issue altogether. So I believe a couple of speakers at the start of the space also mentioned that in the coming up time, we are seeing that the different governments are adopting crypto. We are seeing institutions that were doing the same. Now, I think even in terms of marketing, I believe the Web2 platforms are also soon going to be adopting themselves towards Web3 paid ads. So that's what I would say, that it's about trying to get the right audience and trying to build trust, which is the most important narrative that you can run. And for our project itself, what we need to do is the same thing, that we need to try to bring those TradFi users to the tokenized idea of things.
Okay, fair enough. So there's a bit of education going on and there's a bit of trust going on. So trust, I have my own take on that regard. I mean, I think there's also a great deal of partnership that needs to happen that is not necessarily happening in the space. Outside partnerships, Web2 partnerships. I mean, how many uh like imagine if you were to be recommended by a bank, how many people would buy it? Bitcoin ETFs are a same thing. I own Bitcoin ETFs even. I don't own Bitcoin because it's too complicated. Okay. This is Daddy Phil speaking, by the way. This is not Go Home token. But if you're looking for a Go Home token, meanwhile, I would like to plug it to you. We will never ask you to connect your wallet on our website. Always stay safe. Always use the official Go Home underscore token hashtag or the handle to interact with our Twitter page. Our official website is only the one and only gohometoken.com, nothing else. We'll never ever ask you to connect your wallet. Only you can purchase our token through whitelisted exchanges and white labeled exchanges that you can find on our website. We will never ask you to buy it on the spot on our website. Only exchanges, decentralized, centralized, whatever suits your heart and desires. So stay safe from scammers, everyone. That's part of advertising as well. Mocha, I would like to involve you into the conversation. Is there anything you'd like to chime in on?
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty weird to try to target a wider audience in crypto because when you're growing a brand account, you obviously have team members who have a wider follower base, and you actually bring them in to help you gain traction, right? When you're building a team, you're looking for people who are active on X, who might have a follower base on Instagram, on TikTok, depending on your target audience. But when trying to reach more people on X, you either go the route of collaborating with KOLs, as people like to call them, with a huge follower base that you might not know um, if they're legit or not, or you might go down the route of trying to create partnerships with small creators, which have a lower reach but might be more organic, or you might want to try advertisement on X. And the thing is, in crypto, all of the people who roam X on a daily basis, we don't really fall for that. We don't really check advertisements. Most people have premium or pro, so they don't even see the advertisements. So you're missing out on a big audience right there. And the other one is you can basically tell that 95% of advertisement on X targeted to crypto Twitter are scams. So people already know to not trust any paid advertisements on X. So it's a weird trick. It's a weird way to try to grow your X account through advertisement. You have to do it organically, but that takes time. And you can basically see who has bought their account because they have 178,000 followers and they are a niche topic on a niche blockchain. And it's just so weird, man. I would like to know exactly what strategies the brand accounts here are using to grow their accounts organically.
Yeah, tell us more. What strategies are you using, guys? Um, Interesting, because there's there I work for Growthy, which is basically a marketing agency, and one of the biggest things to grow organically, we use what we call founder-led marketing. So founder-led marketing is something that you lets you position your project as a human brand by creating a brand for your founder, and then marketing it through founder-led marketing. That's one way to build it, because to grow your audience organically. I mean, we've seen Luca Nets, we've seen Frank D. Gods, Garga, and Gordo are partially founder-led, you could say, and Snowfro. I mean, there's many different ones. But how do we advertise our project without advertising our project? For example, I hate shilling spaces. I hate people sitting around and just talking about how great their project is. I just cannot stand it. Honestly, that's waterboarding for me. So how do we market and how do we advertise our project without advertising our project? Shiv, what's your thoughts on this? Um,
Well,
Shiv?
I can actually chime in while Shib fixes
Well, Shiv's
his
being
tech
rugged.
issues.
Yeah, Shiv's being rugged. No.
Well,
Shiv,
you kind of
explain back.
said
Yeah, go
it
ahead.
at the beginning that he's the how did you call it, the unrugged rugged every day or something like that.
Unruggable. Shiv the unruggable. That's how we know him. He'll come back. He'll come back. He always does. Trust me. You shouldn't sleep on Shiv, guys. But anyway, go ahead, Mocha.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing. I'm actually down there in the audience. I'm Eric, and I usually join spaces with my own account because, yes, like you just mentioned, people connect more with a face, with a story, with society in general hates brand accounts, and crypto Twitter is so cynical about them because they are either loved or hated. But then I saw that all of these brand accounts joined the speaker panel, and I was like, okay, maybe I should join with the brand account, to just follow the vibes. But at the same time, you have all of these Web3 members, you could call them, like this community, what like the wider community does not really connect with brands at all. And that's why you see, for example, looking at having so many followers, and the brand accounts might get some engagement, but nothing like the founder's account.
Fair enough. And it also depends on. Oh my God, I cut my lip just now. Jesus Christ. The host is damaged. The host is wounded. My lip got wounded. The most expensive part of my body got wounded. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I work with my mouth. So to piggyback on your point, basically, some founders can make it, some founders cannot make it. It is also really important that you realize, are you charismatic enough? Are you a Web3 persona enough? Are you memeified enough, memeable enough at least, to make it work? I mean, if you can't, wink wink, reach out. Daddy Phil will stand in your position. But anyway, um, if you can make it, you can always find somebody that speaks English better than you, that is more charismatic online, at least on Spaces. So that's one way of advertising in a way. And just being on Spaces is such an underrated thing. Just like attending Spaces is one of the most underrated marketing tactic in Web3, in my estimation. But we got Shiv the Unruggable back. Go ahead, Shiv.
Mic check 1 2. Am I unruggable
Perfect.
still? Awesome. So I love the point about spaces and founder led marketing, and it's always amazing to see a face or a voice interact with you. But coming back to what I was initially going to say is that the problem is this. If you compare a traditional industry to a Web3 company, any traditional company developing a product spends probably months or years in R&D, in development, in logistics, and so on and so forth. And then they hire the marketing guys. Web3 is the one space where, hey, I have a startup idea today. Great. Who's our marketer? Tomorrow? Done. It makes no sense. The issue is that because it's so easy to onboard people, be it extract further from them, but I'm not even just capping it at that, just knowing that you can get them involved, even if your intentions are the best. It's not always the best time to onboard users. It's not always the best time to onboard community members. If you actually are able to build a product which serves some amount of utility. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't leverage the benefits of crowdfunding on chain, don't leverage the benefits of raising capital through NFTs or tokens, but at least have an MVP. At least have a product where if you make 100 people in the world try it, 20 out of those 100 say, okay, this is something we don't mind. 10 people say, okay, we might use this. But at least two or three say, okay, we fucking love this. The issue is so many projects themselves don't know what they're doing, themselves don't know what they're going to look like in a year, and then expect to bandwagon off of what everyone else in the space is doing, be it the hottest meta, be it the easiest way to raise, be it the best way to clickbait your way into getting crazy engagement on your content. But it might be there are a lot of people that are amazing at that, but I don't think it's effective enough to retain them after. You need to be able to actually build on your core product first. You need to be solving a problem, or at least redesigning or repackaging something in a way that hasn't been done before, where people will want to use the product just for the product's sake. How many projects out in Web3 right now can say we have users without any marketing? If we just put this product in front of people, will people want to use it? If your answer is yes, then you have something that markets itself. Then the content you post about it, make it about the unique features, make it relevant to your target demographic of the people that you like. You have the abundance of surveying and A/B testing at the price of cents in most parts of the world. Leverage that. And I think enough people in this space primarily don't, because it's a much, first of all, longer but also harder feedback loop, because the sense of validation that crypto Twitter gives someone is very, very, very deceiving. So I know we're running short on time, so I'll keep it at that.
No, fair enough. And actually, the question, well, the thing is, I feel kind of unfair to ask the question, does the type of marketing of features work or does it not work? Because you could say, hey, you know what? We are marketing like just uh, what is it called? Like features and stuff, but it doesn't work because people don't buy it, or people don't get interested in our product. And I don't really know, like I could say, for example, Griffin AI. Do you think that is a product, Shiv, that is worth exploring for people, or is it not in its final stages? I'm just bringing this as an example because I see a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but some of the companies I see in that stage.
I would say the best thing Griffin can do right now is just upload videos of real user-faced issues being solved. Griffin does do a lot of that decently. I haven't used it for quite a few months now, still holding a micro bag in it, but I think the idea is, and because you mentioned AI agents, I think it's a great example. The best marketing that I've seen from AI agent projects, and this is not just during the big boom of AI agent meme coins, but I'm saying to this date, are those projects where I've seen a video of a user facing an issue which I faced, or doing something which I've done or someone I know has done in, say, X amount of time and doing it in half that time. I'm going to want to use that project. No amount of buzzwords, no amount of farming, no amount of unique meta positioning is going to be able to replace that. And I think if you look at the biggest marketing campaigns that have been done in the world, they do two things. They either make you feel like something you're not, Marlboro Man, aspirational product, or they solve an existing problem you have. In Web3, we're neither here nor there. It's not aspirational in the sense, unless you're talking about a flex having NFT, and yet it's not utilitarian in the sense that you're directly marketing to solve problems. It's almost like a big pot of just marketing, metas, monetization, what your product is today, what it was yesterday, what you think it could be tomorrow. And I think that on the long time frame just won't work. So I think this is still something in which we can learn a lot from Web 2.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the use cases because most apps, and it is somewhat of a pattern here, unfortunately, most apps and most programs and most products and services in Web3 still target people that are within Web3. So they keep feeding the same loop. And the second part of our advertising is always fo- like funneling it with traders. Like it's always a trading bot, a trading help, trading something, trading something. It's always seemingly aimed at people that trade. And I personally believe there's more people that don't trade than people that trade. There's more people in the world that just want to use online products that could be useful for set purposes than people that are trading. So keep that in mind while you're advertising, and always, always know your